Hello, and thanks for joining Sikich at our webinar, Get a Head Start on Your GP to BC Migration. Annie Korsgaard, Senior Manager of Client Account Management at Sikich, as well as Stephanie Jordan, a consultant here for the Dynamics GP and BCT teams here at Sikich as well, will be presenting today. But before we get to them, I do want to go over just a few logistics. As you can probably already tell, everyone is muted, but feel free to go into that chat box and ask questions, engage with our other audience members, as well as the presenters today. We love your feedback and we love your questions, so make sure to ask those in the chat box there. We will be sending this recording and a copy of the slide deck out to everyone that registered as well as attended here today. So we'll make sure to get that out to you in the follow-up email. Feel free to share that with whoever you'd like, co-workers, colleagues. Let's get started here. I think we're going to be bringing on Annie Korsgaard first. Thanks so much for being here with us, Annie. Let's get started.
All right, so for today's webinar, we'll be covering Sikich's new HeadStart migration from Dynamics GP to Dynamics 365 Business Central in the cloud. So first, we'll discuss the future of GP and why clients are starting to look to migrate to Business Central. We'll give an overview of Business Central, and then one of our Business Central consultants, Stephanie, will show you how the data migration tool from GP to BC works. And then we'll finish up today's webinar with an overview of our HeadStart migration package. So to start, let's review with the future of Dynamics GP. So GP 2015 was the latest version to hit end of support on April 14th of this year. And then moving forward, Dynamics GP 2016 and 2016 R2 will be supported until July of 2021. And Dynamics GP 2018 and 2018 R2 will be supported until January of 2023. So these versions are still on the old life cycle of GP, where each version was supported by Microsoft in 5-year intervals. And then with the new roadmap, which we'll talk about more in depth on the next slide, the latest version was just released this October, being 18.3. So to dig into the roadmap more in depth, last October, Microsoft announced their new lifecycle, which they're calling the modern lifecycle, where one new version will be released annually, putting the prior release out of support. So the latest release of this new lifecycle is 18.3, which put last year's release of 18.2 out of support with Microsoft. So when Microsoft no longer supports that version, it means that they won't be releasing any year-end updates for the version, patches, bug fixes, or any new features. Sikich will still continue to support you as your partner, but if there is anything that we need to fall back onto Microsoft for, they just won't be able to assist. So it is important that you are running a version in support with Microsoft for GP. And with this too, GP will continue to stay an on-premise product rather than a true cloud ERP, but clients do have the option to host GP in Azure as that first step to get you to the cloud. And with this latest release of 18.3 came about 25 or so new enhancements that focused on financials, workflow functionality, basic system enhancements, and then top feature requests that were submitted by users of the system. So if you decide to upgrade to this version and would like more information on these exact new features, please feel free to reach out to your client account manager here at Sikich, and we can assist with your review of that. So knowing that there are different versions available as well as new roadmaps, we're recommending one of two options. So the first would be to stay on GP. And with this, we do recommend that you upgrade to 2018 R2 rather than 18.3. And depending on the complexity of your system and number of ISV products, moving to that new modern lifecycle that we discussed with those 1-year intervals would force you to upgrade annually, which can become pretty time consuming. So by moving to 2018 R2, you could be assured that you have that support until 2023, which will give you a few more years to be able to evaluate the next move for your business. And then the second recommendation would be to move to Business Central in the cloud. So this will take away the need for ever upgrading again, and will also take away that need to host on-premise hardware as well. And this is the option that we are seeing most of our clients taking, especially in this new work from home world. And with that, for the remainder of this webinar, we will be digging into then further that second recommendation of moving to Business Central. So for those of you who are joining and are new to Business Central, there are already over 100,000 companies running Business Central worldwide. So it's not a new product by any means. And Sikich also has many clients that have migrated with dedicated Business Central consultants in-house to be able to support you with that move. The Business Central partner community is also similar to Dynamics GPs, and many of those ISVs or third parties that you're probably used to working with GP have been made compatible with Business Central. And with Business Central 2, the pricing is very easy to understand. So it's simply $70 per month per user, and you do receive 40% off for being current on your GP enhancement plan. So there's also options for premium users if you're using manufacturing and distribution functionality currently in GP for $100 per month per user, and then Teams licenses for only $8 per month per user for read-only type functionality. And both of these other two license types will also qualify for that 40% off discount. And then moving forward, you would just pay per month per user rather than your annual enhancement plan. The product is also easily customizable for any custom fields or integrations that you may need to run your business. And then with those integrations, Business Central does work well and have out-of-the-box integrations already with the Microsoft stack of products, such as SharePoint for document storage and workflows, Outlook, Power Apps like Power BI and Power Automate. And then there's also a strong integration to Dynamics 365 customer engagement for that CRM functionality. And then for companies who still may be cloud adverse but would like to take advantage of the functionality of BC, it can also be deployed on-premise. So Stephanie will have BC open in a bit here to show you the product, but here's a quick screenshot of what the user interface looks like. So it's obviously a bit more modern than GP and also allows for mobile use for your tablet and phone. And it also allows for dashboards and KPIs, a mobile role center, mobile alerts, and notifications. So to access BC, you just need an internet connection to access through a web browser. So super easy on that front too. And then one last item to cover is the Microsoft App Source. So the App Source has certified listings from partners and third-party products where you could easily browse offerings for products and services that are compatible with Business Central. So you may see some familiar products in the App Source that you're currently using with GP, which means that they are now certified with Microsoft to be compatible with Business Central moving forward. And some also offer trial licenses of their products. So again, just an easy way for you to be able to search for the functionality that your business may need. So with that, I will pass the mic over to Stephanie Jordan, who will be reviewing the technical aspects of Business Central and that migration from GP.
Thank you, Annie. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the cloud migration tool and the process of getting your GP database information over into Business Central. So the migration tool is going to give you the ability to bring data from your GP on-prem to the cloud. There are multiple ways you can utilize it. So we see some folks using to test Business Central, so bringing their data over and being able to basically create like a Fabricam database or a test database that they can, see how Business Central works with their data, see how they would potentially utilize Business Central. The other option is for going live. We can bring everything over because with this cloud migration tool, it's an all or nothing. We're not choosing what we're bringing over. It's going to allow you to bring all of your data over or everything that it supports. As you can see there, we have 2016, 2018, and 18.2 as supported versions. On the next slide, you're going to see 2015 as well. For the time being, 2015 is available to use the cloud migration tool, but we're being told that that is going away because Microsoft no longer supports 2015. And with that being said, if you're not running a supported version of GP, the cloud migration tool may not work, but there are certainly other ways that Sikich can get your data into Business Central for you. So this is just a tool to sort of look at everything in your GP database and bring everything over, but there are, of course, other options of bringing data in. So we're going to go to the next slide here, and this was what I was talking about with 2015. So as of right now, yes, 2015 is a supported version, but we're being told in the pretty near future that that's going to go away. So you've got 2016, 2018, and then the new life cycle of 18 to go over. This will just show you that it can handle, you know, the modules that GP has available: project management, operations, financials, any type of processing you may need to do, we can certainly talk through, but that cloud migration tool can get you started a bit more quickly. So let's talk about some of those details. Oops, sorry, let me go back. Let's talk about some of those data points. So I briefly mentioned that it's an all or nothing. And just to elaborate on that, when you're using the cloud migration tool, there aren't options to say, okay, I want my chart of accounts to come over, but I don't want my vendors. There is no selection process there. It is just going to bring everything over for you. And as you see on here, that's quite a bit of data. So we've got our chart of accounts, our account summary balances, customers, receivables, payables, vendors, quantities of inventory if you have them, and then historical data as well. So what I want to do is I want to take us into Business Central for some folks who may not have seen it before. So this is our Business Central homepage, and you'll see up here in this top left corner, this name should probably be familiar for our GP clients. It's Fabricam. Fabricam in GP is that test database, right? It's that sample database that you can bring data, I'm sorry, that data exists in for you to just do testing. What I've done is I have used the cloud migration tool to take my Fabricam data from Dynamics GP 2016 and bring it into Business Central. So let's just start with our chart of accounts. So just as a note for everybody, your chart of accounts, Business Central works a little bit different than GP does. Business Central has this main account and it uses dimensions to bring in what GP would utilize segments for. So how you have your GP chart of accounts configured will determine what your natural or your main account is versus your dimensions. It's to simplify things a bit, you know, adding dimensions, there's default options, there's a lot of different ways to utilize those dimensions, but it does look just a little bit different than GP, but the cloud migration tool can handle that. So this is my natural account. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and look on this search field right here, and I'm going to type in dimensions. And I just want to take you to our dimensions page so that you'll see these were my other two segments of my chart of accounts. I had my department segment and my division segment. If I click on division here and dimension values, it's going to show me all of the values that I had in there and their descriptor. So all of this information is going to be held in that segment setup window. So, you know, if we're talking about using the migration tool, we can talk about in GP, you know, maybe making sure some of this information is there just so it comes over a bit cleaner for you, and you'll have the information more readily available once you get to Business Central. But it is going from a segmented chart of accounts to a natural account with multiple dimensions potentially. The other, excuse me, in sales here, let's just come over to customers, and anybody that has been in Fabricam before are probably going to recognize some of these customer names. So my number here is going to come over as that key field in GP. That ID field, that information is going to come over along with balance information. When we talk about historical data for customers and vendors, right here next to customers, you're going to see all. And if I hit this drop down, I'm going to see all of these different options. These are Business Central extension tables. So if I was looking for an invoice that came over from Dynamics GP, I would look in these extension tables. I wouldn't necessarily look in the same place that I would for an invoice that was created and posted within Business Central. But all of the information exists in Business Central tables so that you can get to them potentially with reporting. If you want to analyze them, all of the information is contained within Business Central, but just in a different place. So if I click on Dynamics GP Sales Invoices, it's going to show me a listing of all of the invoices that came over when I ran that cloud migration tool. Purchase orders are going to be the same. So just keep in mind, all of that information is coming over. It's just held in these Business Central extension tables. So just to kind of talk through a little bit the process that goes along with it, when working with the cloud migration tool, there will be just some time that we take within Dynamics GP to make sure things are configured properly so that you have a much easier transition to Business Central. There are some different setups in GP that Business Central is going to be looking for. I will tell you, and you can see it right here, there are places within Business Central that are going to allow you to see the process, right? You'll see things coming over successfully. We'll see windows, we'll see if tables fail, that sort of thing. So there's a way to sort of monitor it as it's happening because it can take a bit of time to bring that data over. But there, like I said, there is a way to monitor it and see what is coming over. So with this cloud migration tool, it's going to get you into Business Central potentially much quicker because all of your information is coming over. As I said, we'll take some time before we run the tool just to validate your information in Dynamics GP to make sure that we're going to have a clean transition to Business Central. But everything should come over and you will have the data available based on those data points we talked about previously. So at this point, I'm going to let Annie kind of talk a little bit more about the service process and how it works for you folks looking to get started. Annie?
All right, well, thanks, Stephanie. And with the GP to BC migration tool that Stephanie just covered, Sikich has created a new migration package as well called the HeadStart Migration, which is designed to migrate your data to the cloud as quickly as possible for a fixed price. So once clients are in the cloud, Sikich could assist with optimizing your use of the system, but clients will have the training needed to be able to do much of this on their own. So we really do try to enable you all to really know the system and be able to optimize based on your business needs. And as far as the details of this package, Sikich will again use the migration tool to set up one live company, as well as a sandbox or test environment, and we'll get you up and running in BC in 8 weeks. So we'll configure this out of the box with the financial functionality that Business Central offers. And if you do need additional companies, Sikich will be able to train a power user in your team on how to create these companies, as it's a much simpler process than what GP currently requires. And then as far as reporting, we recommend deploying Jet Reports as Management Reporter is not an option with BC. So with this HeadStart migration package, we'll provide a reporting workshop to install, configure, and train on the new reporting tool, as well as training to set up those reports for you. And then as part of this too, we'll also deploy a Power BI financial dashboard for your accounting department to be able to do real-time data analysis within Power BI pulled from BC. And again, this will all be completed within an 8-week time frame to have you successfully running your new ERP system. So as far as next steps, please contact either info@sikich.com or your client account manager to get started with the HeadStart migration, and we'll be able to provide you with an estimate for the licensing and the services. And we'd also be happy to answer any questions that you may have around moving to the cloud. So with that, thank you for joining, and we look forward to hearing from you all soon.
Thanks so much, Annie and Stephanie, for presenting this topic to us today. Again, if anyone has any questions, comments, concerns, anything that you'd like to bring up, or if you're just interested in moving to BC as quick as possible, make sure to reach out to your client account manager or feel free to follow up when we send out a follow-up email to this webinar sometime tomorrow. Thanks so much again for being here, and we will see everybody next time.